Here's a compelling introduction for your video. The chaos never ends. One day, it's tariffs. The next, it's memes. And in between, there's always Elon Musk, somehow caught in the middle of a political storm he probably didn't see coming. Or maybe he did, and he just doesn't care. Either way, the past 48 hours have been a whirlwind of economic posturing, awkward apologies, and a very gentle but unmistakable slap on the wrist from the GOP. And if you think any of this makes sense, well, think again. Let's start with Trump. The man loves a good tariff, and this week he's made it clear that if he gets back into the White House, he's coming for imports hard. In classic Trump fashion, there's no subtlety, no warning, just a big, bold promise. Across-the-board tariffs that could shake the economy. Businesses are scrambling, markets are twitching, and analysts are already sweating over the potential whiplash. But here's the thing, this isn't just about trade policy. It's about power plays, political leverage, and a whole lot of people trying to guess what Trump's real endgame is. Because let's be honest, with him, there's always another angle. Meanwhile, in the land of internet absurdity, Doge, yes, the meme coin that refuses to die, is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. A certain high-profile backer, you already know who, may or may not have pushed the joke a little too far, leaving the crypto world scrambling for damage control. And now, a half-hearted apology that's about as convincing as a politician promising they won't raise taxes. But the real question is, does anyone even care anymore? Or is this just another blip in the endless cycle of online hype and regret? And then there's Elon. Elon. The billionaire genius, the Twitter troll, the man who can launch a rocket into space, but somehow can't launch a tweet without setting off a firestorm. This time, it's not just random internet outrage. This time, he's facing heat from the very people he's tried to keep on his side. The GOP, usually friendly territory for the Tesla and SpaceX CEO, has suddenly found a reason to remind him where he stands. Not with a full-on attack, of course, just a gentle warning. A quiet but firm reminder that even the biggest tech moguls aren't untouchable. But why now? And what does this mean for Musk's increasingly tangled relationship with politics? The pieces are all moving. Trump's tariffs could send shockwaves through the economy. Doge is fumbling its way through yet another PR mess. And Musk? He might just be realizing that playing both sides comes with a price. But the real drama, it's just getting started. Of course, here's the next part of your story. If there's one thing that's certain in this mess, it's that nobody knows what's coming next. Trump's tariff plan has set off alarm bells in boardrooms, Wall Street offices, and even among his own allies. Some call it strategic. Others call it reckless. Either way, the message is loud and clear. If he returns to the White House, the global economy is in for a shakeup. Businesses that once thrived under free trade agreements are now trying to read between the lines. Will there be exceptions? Will it be targeted? Or is this just another opening shot in a much bigger negotiation game? Because if history tells us anything, Trump's playbook isn't about policy. It's about pressure. He loves to throw out a big number, watch the panic spread, and then work his way to a deal where he still comes out on top. But this time, the stakes are higher. China is watching. The EU is preparing countermeasures. And American companies that rely on overseas production are already warning that prices will spike. Behind the scenes, advisors and lobbyists are scrambling to make sense of it all. Some insiders claim this is just a campaign promise meant to rally his base, while others fear he's dead serious. If that's the case, it's not just the markets that will react, it's voters too. Working-class Americans may welcome the idea of bringing jobs back home, but if the cost of goods skyrockets, the enthusiasm could turn into frustration fast. And Trump? He thrives on being unpredictable, which means nobody, nobody knows where this is really headed. And while economic uncertainty is taking over the headlines, the world of crypto is dealing with its own brand of chaos. Doge, the meme-turned-millionaire maker, is back in the news, and not in a good way. The apology that came out, if you can even call it that, was about as convincing as a dog pretending it didn't just eat your sandwich. Half-hearted, vague, and ultimately meaningless. But that's the thing with crypto. Scandals come and go, and the internet moves on. What's different this time is the people behind it. The so-called apology felt more like a shrug, leaving investors wondering if they've been played once again. It doesn't help that crypto has been struggling to regain its credibility. After years of wild highs and brutal crashes, most serious investors have moved on to safer bets. But Doge, it refuses to die. It's the cockroach of the financial world. No matter how many times people write it off, it finds a way to crawl back into relevance. And whether that's because of genuine faith in its future, or just a collective refusal to let go of the meme culture that birthed it, one thing is clear. Doge is a story that never really ends. And then, of course, there's Musk. The man who somehow manages to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. He's built an empire that touches everything from electric cars to outer space. Yet somehow, it's his social media antics that keep dragging him into the political crossfire. This time, it's not just some Twitter drama. This time, it's the GOP, the very group that once saw him as an ally, giving him a subtle but unmistakable warning. The problem? Musk has spent years trying to play both sides. He's courted conservatives with his attacks on woke culture and media bias, while still keeping a foot in the door with progressives through his work in clean energy and space exploration. But politics doesn't work like that, not forever. Eventually, you have to pick a side, or a side picks you. And now, it seems like the GOP is reminding Musk where his loyalties asterisk should asterisk lie. It's not an all-out war, not yet, at least. But the message is clear. Tread carefully. The same people who once defended Musk against critics are now raising eyebrows at his business decisions, his political comments, and his growing influence. It's the kind of tension that doesn't explode right away. It simmers, it builds, and then, when the moment is right, it erupts. The question is, does Musk see it coming? Or is he too busy tweeting to notice the ground shifting beneath him? All of these stories, Trump's tariffs, Doge's mess, Musk's political balancing act, are happening at the same time, each one affecting the other in ways that aren't immediately obvious. Markets react to uncertainty. Voters react to economic fears. Politicians react to power shifts. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the people watching from the outside are left wondering what happens next. Because that's the thing, this isn't just about trade wars or crypto crashes or billionaire egos. It's about control, who holds it, who's losing it, and who's desperately trying to keep it. And right now, the answer isn't clear. All we know is that the storm is far from over. Behind the scenes, the tension is growing. Trump's tariff threat isn't just a headline. It's sending ripples through the entire economy. CEOs are making frantic calls, trying to figure out how much damage this could do to their bottom line. Small businesses that rely on overseas supply chains are quietly panicking. Even within Trump's own circle, there are whispers of concern. Some advisors are pushing for a more targeted approach, something that won't cause immediate blowback. Others, the loyalists, are saying this is exactly what the country needs. Bold action, consequences be damned. But there's one problem. The markets don't like uncertainty. Every time Trump hints at a massive economic shift, investors get nervous. Stocks dip, currency values fluctuate, and this time the anxiety is spreading beyond Wall Street. Regular people, the ones who just want to afford groceries and gas, are starting to pay attention. Because tariffs don't just hurt foreign companies, they make everything more expensive. The moment prices go up, frustration builds. And Trump? He's betting that the long-term promise of economic strength will outweigh the short-term pain. But what if he's wrong? Meanwhile, over in the world of crypto, the fallout from Doge's latest misstep is still unfolding. The apology, if you can even call it that, hasn't exactly reassured investors. Instead, it's raised even more questions. Was it damage control or just another joke? Are the people behind Doge actually serious about its future? Or is this just another pump and dump waiting to happen? Some diehard believers are doubling down, insisting that this is just another bump in the road. Others, they're cashing out while they still can. Crypto has always been unpredictable, but this feels different. The energy is shifting. Regulators are watching more closely. The public, once fascinated by the idea of digital currency, is growing weary of the constant chaos. And Doge, the coin that was never supposed to be taken seriously, is now facing a very real credibility problem. Will it survive? Maybe. But the cracks are starting to show. And then there's Musk, caught in the middle of a storm he may not have fully anticipated. For years, he's operated as if he's untouchable, a billionaire with an army of loyal followers, a tech visionary who doesn't need to play by the rules. But politics doesn't work that way. The moment you start influencing policy, the moment you start throwing your weight around in ways that affect real power structures, people start paying attention. And right now, the GOP is paying very close attention. At first, it was subtle. A few senators making offhand comments about tech billionaires overstepping. A couple of opinion pieces warning that Musk's influence was growing too large. But now, it's starting to escalate. There are whispers about potential investigations, murmurs of regulatory pressure. Nothing direct, nothing aggressive, just enough to send a message. And Musk? He's in a tough spot. For years, he's positioned himself as an outsider, someone who doesn't belong to either political party. But now both sides are watching him closely. The left sees him as a billionaire playing power games, while the right is starting to question his true loyalties. And if there's one thing politicians hate, it's a wild card they can't control. Everything is connected. Trump's tariff threats could send the economy into a tailspin, creating ripple effects that reach every industry. The uncertainty around Doge is just another reminder that markets, whether stocks, crypto, or otherwise, are built on trust, and trust is fragile. And Musk? He's walking the tightrope, trying to balance power, influence, and public perception, knowing that one wrong move could bring everything crashing down. The real question isn't just what happens next. It's who is really in control. Trump may be setting the stage for an economic war, but will he be able to handle the consequences? Doge may have survived every scandal so far, but how many times can it keep bouncing back? And Musk, does he even realize that the very system he's been playing with for years is now playing with ***? The tension is building. The stakes are getting higher. And right now, nobody knows how this story will end. Behind the scenes, the pressure is hitting a breaking point. Trump's tariff announcement, once just a bold campaign promise, is now turning into something much bigger, something with real consequences. Corporate leaders are scrambling, trying to figure out their next moves. Lobbyists are flooding Washington, pushing back against a policy that could cost billions. Even some of Trump's own allies are starting to waver, worried that this time the economic fallout might be too much to control. But Trump, he thrives in this kind of chaos. He loves watching people react, loves holding all the power in the room. And right now, he knows that every news cycle, every market dip, every panic statement from a CEO only makes him look stronger to his base. But there's a fine line between control and catastrophe, and Trump is walking that line with no safety net. If the markets crash too hard, if inflation spikes at the wrong time, if companies start moving operations out of the country instead of bringing them back, he could be the one left holding the bag. The risk is enormous. But for Trump, that's never been a reason to back down. If anything, it's fuel. Meanwhile, in the crypto world, the situation around Doge is spiraling. What started as a controversy is now turning into a full-blown crisis. Investors are pulling out, and the price is slipping. The usual hold-the-line messages from die-hard believers aren't working like they used to. The apology, meant to calm things down, has only made people more suspicious. Was this all just a joke that went too far? Or was there something deeper going on behind the scenes? Something that people weren't supposed to see? Online forums are buzzing with conspiracy theories. Some claim insiders knew exactly what was happening and cashed out before the damage hit. Others say this is just another classic crypto shakeout, designed to scare off weak hands before the next big rally. But the real problem isn't just the price, it's trust. Once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. And right now, Doge is hanging on by a thread. And then there's Musk, sitting in the center of it all, whether he wants to be or not. For years, he's been able to navigate controversy with a mix of charm, bravado, and sheer technological ambition. But this time, it's different. This time, the people watching aren't just online critics or angry investors. This time, it's the people in power, the ones who can actually make life difficult for him. The GOP's warnings have gone from subtle to direct. Certain lawmakers, once silent, are now openly questioning his business practices. Some are even suggesting that his companies might need closer scrutiny. The message is clear. He's not untouchable. Not anymore. And Musk knows it. But here's the thing, Musk isn't the type to back down. If anything, he pushes harder when he feels cornered. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. Will he try to outmaneuver the people coming after him? Will he use his influence to fight back? Or will he miscalculate and find himself in a fight he can't win? Everything is building toward a breaking point. Trump is doubling down on tariffs, pushing the economy to the edge. Doge is teetering between collapse and survival, with its entire future hanging in the balance. And Musk? He's facing a challenge unlike anything he's dealt with before. A battle not of technology, but of power. The air is thick with uncertainty. Every move from here on out could change everything. The next decision, the next statement, the next unexpected twist, any one of them could set off a chain reaction that nobody can stop. And right now, everyone watching is waiting for the moment it all explodes. And just when it seems like the chaos can't get any worse, something unexpected happens. A leak. Not just any leak, a bombshell. A document surfaces, supposedly from within Trump's inner circle, outlining the potential real consequences of the tariffs. It's not just speculation anymore. The numbers are staggering: job losses, price spikes, potential retaliation from major trading partners. The kind of data that would make even the most die-hard supporters pause. The document spreads like wildfire. News outlets pick it up. Analysts tear it apart. Some claim it's exaggerated, while others argue it confirms their worst fears. But the real question is, who leaked it? Was this a warning from someone inside Trump's camp? trying to stop the train before it derails? Or was it a calculated move by his political enemies, designed to throw his campaign into turmoil? Trump, never one to sit quietly, fires back. He calls the leak fake news, accuses the media of fear-mongering, and doubles down even harder. But behind closed doors, his advisors know the damage is real. The markets don't care about political spin. And now, they're reacting. At the same time, another storm is brewing, one that Musk definitely didn't see coming. While he's been busy navigating the political firestorm, a new investigation is quietly launched. Government regulators are looking into Tesla's overseas dealings, focusing on supply chain issues, potential labor concerns, and financial maneuvers that suddenly seem a little too convenient. At first, it seems like a coincidence. Just another headache for a billionaire who's always under scrutiny. But then the details start coming out. The timing is too perfect. The pressure is too precise. This isn't just a routine investigation, it's a message. Musk realizes, maybe too late, that this isn't just about him anymore. This is about control. The same politicians who once welcomed him into the fold are now pulling the strings, reminding him that for all his influence, he doesn't make the rules. And if he thought he could stay neutral, thought he could play both sides forever, well, he's about to learn how quickly the game changes when the people in charge decide you're a problem. Meanwhile, Doji is experiencing something nobody expected, a sudden surge. Just when everyone thought the scandal would kill it, the price starts climbing. Not because of renewed faith, not because of any major announcement, but because of pure chaos. Speculators jump in, hoping to ride the volatility. Online communities turn it into a rebellion. They want Doji dead. Fine, let's pump it. It's a movement built on frustration, on defiance, on the sheer thrill of proving the system wrong. But like all unpredictable spikes, it's a ticking time bomb. The higher it climbs, the harder the fall will be. And this time, when the crash comes, it might not just be the price that gets wrecked. It might be the entire foundation holding the crypto world together. The pieces are moving faster now. The leaks, the investigations, the market swings, everything is spiraling. Trump is facing pressure from within his own party. Musk is realizing that his power has limits. And Doji. It's caught between collapse and revolution. The stakes have never been higher, and there's no way all three can come out of this unscathed. And yet, the biggest twist, it's still coming. Because somewhere in the background, there's another player, one who hasn't revealed their hand yet. Someone who's been watching all of this unfold, waiting for the perfect moment to step in. And when they do, everything we thought we knew about this story is going to change. And then, just when the chaos seems like it's about to reach its peak, everything collides at once. The markets, already shaky from the leaked tariff report, take a nosedive. Major corporations start making public statements against Trump's economic policy, something they've always been careful to avoid. Behind closed doors, GOP leaders are in a panic. Some of them supported Trump's aggressive stance until they saw the numbers. Now they're worried about re-election, about donors, about the ripple effect of an economic downturn hitting at the worst possible moment. And Trump? He does what he always does. He fights back. But this time, there's no easy win. No quick fix. The damage is already happening, and for the first time in a long time, he's not the one controlling the narrative. At the same time, Musk is dealing with a different kind of attack, one he can't simply outtweet. The regulatory investigation into Tesla's business dealings takes a sharp turn. New evidence emerges, documents, emails, financial records, suggesting that some of the company's overseas operations may have been skirting the rules more than anyone realized. Whether it's intentional wrongdoing or just bad optics doesn't matter anymore. The media jumps on it. Lawmakers demand hearings. Investors start asking questions they never asked before. Musk has always been the disruptor, the visionary, the man ahead of his time. But now the people in power are reminding him that even visionaries have limits. And then there's Doji, the wild card in all of this. After days of extreme volatility, it looks like the party is finally over. The price starts crashing harder than before. Panic selling kicks in. The online rebellion that briefly gave Doji a second life is turning into a stampede for the exits. But just as it seems like the coin is about to fade into irrelevance, something even stranger happens. A massive buy order, so big that it immediately stabilizes the price. Then another, and another. Someone somewhere is pouring money into Doji, stopping the collapse in its tracks. But who and why? And that's when the final twist drops. The leaks about the tariffs, the timing of the Tesla investigation, the Doji price manipulation, they weren't random. They were all connected. Because in the background, hidden from public view, a major financial powerhouse, one with ties to both Washington and Silicon Valley, had been playing the long game. A hedge fund, one of the most influential in the world, had been pulling strings behind the scenes. They had shorted key markets, betting against Trump's policy. They had pushed regulators to look into Tesla, knowing it would shake Musk's empire. And they had positioned themselves to quietly accumulate massive amounts of Doji at a discount, knowing that once the dust settled, retail investors would come flooding back in. In the end, Trump is left scrambling, trying to recover from a crisis that wasn't entirely of his own making. Musk, for all his influence, realizes he's been outmaneuvered in a game he didn't even realize he was playing. And Doji. It survives, not because of faith, not because of community support, but because powerful players decided it was too valuable to let fail. The entire story, all the chaos, all the drama, it wasn't just a battle of personalities. It was a fight for control. And the real winners, they were never the ones in the headlines. They were the ones pulling the strings. In the aftermath of the chaos, the dust slowly begins to settle, but the damage is already done. The markets have taken a hit, confidence has been shaken, and behind closed doors, the real conversations begin. The GOP, once steadfast in their loyalty, starts reassessing their strategy. Some of them are still standing by Trump, unwilling to break away, but others are starting to distance themselves. They see the writing on the wall. This tariff gamble wasn't just about economics. It exposed deeper fractures, power struggles happening just beneath the surface. Trump, though still defiant in public, is now working overtime behind the scenes, trying to secure allies, trying to spin the story in his favor. But for the first time in years, he doesn't seem untouchable. Musk, meanwhile, is facing a different kind of reckoning. The investigation into Tesla drags on, but he knows it was never just about business. It was about control. About reminding him that no matter how much influence he has, he still operates within a system where others hold the levers of power. The headlines will fade, the stock will recover, and his companies will keep pushing forward, but something has shifted. The illusion that he could exist above politics, above the rules, has been shattered. Whether he chooses to fight back or adapt is still unclear. But one thing is certain, he won't be making the same mistakes again. And then there's Doji. The sudden buy-up that stopped its collapse turned out to be just the beginning. The same powerful players who manipulated the chaos had a plan all along. Slowly but surely, they began reshaping the narrative, feeding stories to the media, pushing the idea that Doji wasn't just another meme coin, it was an asset with potential. They sponsored think pieces, enlisted influencers, and worked behind the scenes to ensure that when the next wave of hype arrived, they would be positioned at the center of it. And sure enough, the public took the bait. Within weeks, the price started climbing again, not because of organic excitement, but because the right people had decided it was time. But not everyone bought into it. The crypto world, already wary of manipulation, was split. Some saw Doge's revival as proof that it was here to stay. Others saw it for what it was, a game controlled by forces much bigger than any retail investor. The days of believing in a decentralized revolution were fading. The reality was clear now. Even in crypto, power belonged to those who had the money to move the markets. And so, just like that, the chaos faded into the background, replaced by new headlines, new distractions. Trump moved on to his next battle, Musk refocused on his empire, and Doge continued to exist in its strange, unpredictable space. But for those who had been paying attention, for those who had watched the pieces move behind the scenes, there was one undeniable truth. Nothing had happened by accident. The biggest moves, the most shocking twists, they had all been carefully orchestrated. And the real players, the ones who had profited the most, they weren't the ones making the loudest noise. They were the ones who never needed to be in the spotlight at all.